Oh no.
Oh, show us.
Oh
Magnus
no.
Day 3 of the Superbet Rapid and Blitz started like any other. First, the players on stage to do some light chess piece weightlifting, a kind of Mr. Universe, but for chess. Then Magnus Carlsen taking a few autographs from some epic chess fans. Meanwhile, Yasser Serwan warming up with his standard morning 5k before jumping into the studio ready to call the shots here. But no one knew a shocker was coming, even more shocking than this back in the day Tash. Now what happened on the board? Well, Vincent Keymer, the young German player, opens with knight f3, knight f6 from Magnus, c4, English, very respectable, e6 from Magnus, and now these are the main moves. It's round 8, rapid chess over the board here, but Vincent goes full b3 cowboy against the world number 1. Go on, Vincent Keymer, take the fight. Magnus takes the centre here with pawn to d5, and this is apparently the Agincourt defence, maybe named after the famous English battle in history, no clue, but this is what Magnus played. Bishop b2 of course, bishop d6, g3, going for a full double fianchetto disrespect, the bishop's crossing swords. Just kidding, this isn't disrespectful, but okay, not necessarily what Vincent would play in a classical game. Rapid chess, you've got a bit more license. And now after rook e8, black's threatening to take on c4, push e5. So that's why d4 now fights for the centre. b6 from Magnus. Is he preparing to fianchetto the rook? No, castled, bishop b7, sanity prevails, knight c3 played, and now Magnus takes on c4. He opens up the eyes of his bishop here. He does, however, cede central squares to those powerful pawns. You can't live with them forever. So knight bd7, queen c2, connecting the rooks, and c5. Standard break here, trying to break up the pawns. And you never take on c5 in a million years here, and I'm not saying it because I know the opening variation or whatever, but positionally you give a major outpost to the black minor pieces and saddle yourself with a terrible c4 pawn. So that's why d5. But hang on, isn't this impossible here? Lost my words. Aren't you sacrificing a pawn in the centre of the board? Can't black just take that one? Knight takes, bishop takes. What's the problem? Well, the stars have aligned here. My kids are watching Hercules right now. Reminds me of that moment where the titans are unleashed. Here comes the titan rook. That is a quadruple headshot going into the montage, and without going through all the lines, one of the black pieces drops. In some lines the queen joins the pressure as well. So okay, you can't touch this pawn here. a6 therefore played instead. b5 expansion on the cards, so a4 very natural. Rook b8, good prophylactic chess. Covering the bishop, also maybe looking at b5 ideas one day. We get knight d2, standard maneuver, opens this bishop here, and after bishop e5 from Magnus, good move, looking to trade, Vincent now expands in the centre. And don't go f4 by the way, or bishop d4, check. And with the rook converging, you know there's no e3, and you're making huge holes. Knight g4 could be coming. Having said that, after pawn e4, black does have to be careful. If white could ever arrange this stuff and get a big pawn avalanche going, well, you're going to get snowed under. So that's why Magnus finds a classic pawn break here. I was about to say, can you find the move? But I've just given it away, saying pawn break. Clearly it's not going to be something like this or this unless he went nuts. No, it's pawn to b5 here. Great move. Hang on, aren't you just sacrificing a pawn? Well, yes, but here's the tactical point. After bishop takes on d5, played by Magnus, we see one of the earlier points of rook to b8. So this is how the game played out. The bishops came off the board there. Now we see pawn captures. Rook takes on b5 here, and different moves available for Vincent. This pawn is attacked twice. One of the top engine moves is rook fd1, but Vincent goes rook fe1, and it's an interesting position because Magnus can take, but he doesn't do so. The follow-up move for white is to bring the rook to the center. You don't immediately win back this c5 pawn, but when you keep clicking on the line, eventually white should have enough pressure to win back the pawn. So instead, Magnus goes c4. Classic of his style, trying to keep more pieces on the board. Now can't you just win that pawn? Well, this time if knight takes, you run into this rook c5 move and there's a pin. I never explored what happens if f4, but it looks suicidal. Queen b6 check. Knights are hopping into all these dark squares. You just don't play that move. So what does Vincent do? Rook a d1, typical idea. He's on the major files here, and Magnus again doesn't touch the pawn. He doesn't want to open the line opposite his queen, so he starts with pawn g6 here, gives the king some luft, weakens dark squares, but white's got no dark squared bishop, and now Vincent doesn't necessarily play the most testing way. Rook e3, more precise, but he goes knight e4 here, allows Magnus to exchange, rook recaptures and queen b6. Magnus unraveling very nicely here. Pressure on f2, rook b2 now a threat to hit the queen, complete the right triangle here. So rook e2 played to cover the second rank. f6, never play it unless you're Magnus Carlsen and you know when to do so. Solidify your knight here. h3 from Vincent, good prophylactic chess, keeps an eye on this kind of stuff. And after king g7, Vincent also moves his king, but to h2. Not so precise. King h1 stronger because now you're never running into any kind of knight checks. But this one played and Magnus finds a great move to immediately punish this micro inaccuracy. He picks up the c pawn and pushes it one square forward. Now why can't the queen capture? Well, it's subtle, but you just left the protection of the rook. Now this knight can hop to g4 with check. You pick up an exchange. That's better for black rather. Even though there's a pawn running, black can get it covered. So that's why the pawn wasn't touched. Vincent instead goes for a move which looks like it covers the threats, but it really doesn't. He should play rook e3, but he comes up with the absolute shocker. Keep your eye on the evaluation bar, because after queen a4, Stockfish absolutely poops its pants. -9.5 here. Magnus has a winning tactic. Listen to the reaction from the commentary team here.
Oh no.
Oh, show us.
Oh
Magnus
no.
is winning.
Rook on e2 is hanging.
Show.
So can you find the winning move for black? It looks like everything's covered. You know, if knight g4 check, well, queen takes, and you then cover the rook. Very nice. If rook b4, well, then you open up the attack here. The queen can take an undefended piece. How is black winning? What's the problem? c2, fine, you take. Well, here's the shot. Magnus finds it. It's knight f3 check. And what Vincent has missed in his calculations is that after bishop captures, rook takes, bishop takes. Hang on, haven't you just blundered an entire minor piece? Well, the queen crashes through on f2 with check. F-pawn no longer defended. King stumbling to the square it should have gone to. Bishop dropping and rook covered. This is easy to miss, low on time. A couple of finer points there. Now we see a spike check, but really there's nothing to be done. I mean, run it back a move. Top engine move is give up your queen, Botez Gambit style. No good. This was played. Now queen d4, but queen f3 check, and Vincent had seen enough. He chucked in the towel because you can sidestep, but then you take here. Or you can go here, but then the rook joins the party. Whatever you do, you're going to get checkmated, and that's how the game ended. Magnus wins it. He's chasing Wei Yi. And he's back in action doing a chess.com event as well. I'll try and get some of those games. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Never miss a video. And check out the video on screen if you haven't yet seen the game, the story taking the chess world by storm at the moment. Thanks a lot for watching and see you soon.